Hello and welcome to my channel On the Hook Crochet, where we talk about wearable crochet style. And today let's find out what's been on the hook. Well, I have a finished object to show you. You can probably see that, but we'll talk about it in just a second. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I had a great Christmas as well, and we're going to have some house guests starting tomorrow. So I'm going to get this video done, and then I'll be able to spend some time with some of my family members that are coming to stay with us for a couple of days. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope you had a good time on Christmas. I hope you enjoyed the day and remembered what the reason for the season was, as we all did. And so it was a wonderful, wonderful holiday this year because it was so warm here. I don't know how the weather was in your area, but it was very warm here. It was approaching 70 degrees. And we took a trip to another city to visit some family, and it was just glorious, not having to pile on a bunch of coats and scarves and hats and all that. We just were in a long sleeve shirt and was very comfortable. So it was just really awesome. Really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed your day as well and had lots of family and fun on Christmas Day. Well, I ran by my post box this weekend, and I found a couple of Christmas cards in there, and I want to share these with you just really fast. This is a beautiful cardinal card from Patricia from Tennessee. Patricia, you know who you are. What a gorgeous picture. And you know, I love cardinals. They're my favorite bird of all time. They're very, very beautiful, and they come out in the wintertime, and they just make your yard so gorgeous when they land on one of your branches, and they're that bright red color, and they're just beautiful. I love cardinals, and the saying is that when you see a cardinal, that is one of your deceased relatives coming back to visit. I don't know if that's true, but it's a cute saying, and it's so lovely to see a cardinal in the yard. Patricia, thank you so much. That's a beautiful, beautiful card. I really like it. Now, second of all, not to say the least, this card is from Sandy in Maryland, and Sandy, Maryland sent me a card that said, "Be jolly," very cute, and inside was a pretty ornament, a star ornament. So I'm going to put a picture of it right here. I believe that's where it comes up, and you'll see it. I don't know which side, but anyway, I can't tell. This is a picture of it on my tree, so I've already put it on there, Sandy. So thank you so very much, and a nice, very nice sentiment inside. So be jolly, and that's one of my mottos. Just be jolly. It's just a wonderful day to be jolly. So that's all for the Happy Mail. Thank you so much for spending the time to write a card and send it to me. I really appreciate that. So sweet. So thank you all for everyone who sent me a card or a present or something in the mail. Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you as well. So now, moving through my video, I have a finished object that I want to talk about, and I'm going to model it as well. I'm opening a KnitCrate box, and I have a new project in the works and a pattern to come. So I just want to show you that real quick. So let me stand up and let me model this brand new finished object that I want to show you. This is the Sonnet sweater. This is by the Make and Do crew, and I'll show you the pattern here in just a second. But this is what it looks like on. It's a perfect fit. I made a medium. I didn't want it to be too small, although I think a small would have been okay. It's got quite a bit of ease in it, but it bounces back. It's made from woolies. I'll show you that in a second as well. But I wanted to show you how it fit. The arms fit just perfectly, just the right length, not too short and not too long down here on my fingers. I don't like that, but this is a perfect length for me. I made it right by the pattern, and this is what it looks like in the back. It has a ribbing at the bottom and a ribbing along the sleeves. There's no ribbing at the top, but it does have a bobble design element at the top, and I want to show you that up close. Well, here it is. I really like this. Let me stand up close to you so you can see it. This is the Sonnet sweater by Make and Do crew, and I'll put a link to the kit down in the description because it comes in a kit from Lion Brand, and they don't sell the pattern, as far as I know, they don't sell the pattern by itself on the Make and Do crew site yet, so they probably will eventually. But right now, they're exclusively in the Lion Brand kit. Now, I bought the kit, and my average price for the yarn was $3.24. That's a bargain. This is 200 yards of woolies. It's 20% wool and 80% acrylic. That's what it looks like. You've probably seen it at Joann's. I think that's where you can get it. It's a Lion brand Wool Ease, not Wool Ease Thick and Quick. This is just regular Wool Ease. It's a worsted weight yarn, very easy to work with, does not split. I found it to be very easy to work with. The pattern called for around 1,200 yards of Wool Ease. I made this in 900 yards. I don't know why. It only took about 900 yards of Wool Ease to make this sweater. It was approaching 1,000, so I had this much left on the 5th ball, and that's quite a bit of yarn. That's quite a bit of yarn. And then I had one entire skein left over that I didn't use at all. So I used 4 and a part of a 5th skein of this. So that's really about 900 yards. It didn't take me that much yarn to make it, and it called for 6 balls of yarn. So I have some of this left over, a skein and about 2/3, a skein and 2/3 of that left over. This is what the pattern looks like. It's the Sonnet sweater, and there's Jess of the Make and Do crew modeling the sweater, and this is done in the color wheat, W-H-E-A-T. I believe that's it. It's wheat or some other light brown color. I chose the heather gray. I just liked it better, and I love the color. I love it that it was easy to work with because it's a light color. Now, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. There's another reason I like this light color yarn to work with. I am wearing a tank top underneath because, you know, it's really not that cold outside. I would probably wear it with a turtleneck, maybe a white, light gray, maybe black, but I'd probably go with white or light gray not to ruin the neckline on this. This is a wide neckline, not too wide for me. See, my shoulders end right there, so there's plenty of room for it to stay on my shoulder. That's not an issue at all. It is easy to pull over my head. I did find that. I was actually making it so that I could get a feel for a top-down sweater, because I want to write a pattern for a top-down sweater, and I want it to be very, very easy to make. To me, this was not easy to make. It was an intermediate. It's level 3 intermediate right there. It says it right on the front. And of course, I can do an intermediate sweater. I'm a fairly good crocheter, so that wasn't an issue for me. But I was reading the pattern as I would one of my subscribers, maybe that's an advanced beginner or a beginner, and no, I don't think it would be a lot of fun for you. You could probably figure it out, but it's really written in an intermediate style, so you would need to know a little bit about crochet, have done some different kinds of stitches, and maybe have to fill in the blank a little bit about what the designer might want you to do. I don't like to write my patterns like that. I write my patterns like I'm sitting next to you trying to show you how to do something. And that's why my patterns are so long. They're 15, 16 pages long, some of them. And the reason is because I try to explain everything to you more than one way. And I try to put all the detail in the pattern so that you're not wondering, should I turn here? Should I not turn here? Should I chain one? Should I put the crochet hook right below the chain, or should I skip over one? I try to be very, very clear about that. And when you get into an intermediate style pattern, that is not discussed, not much at all. So I did like the pattern because I love the sweater. The bobbles are, I'm not sure the jury's still out on the bobbles. I'm not sure if I love the bobbles. In fact, there was a correction to the pattern after I had already started making the pattern, and I had to just continue on with a different interpretation of the bobbles. I interpreted them the way I thought they should be done, and then when the pattern was corrected, I realized that I had done mine a different way from the designer. So I didn't go back and rip all that out. I was not going to do that. So some of the bobbles up here in the first part, right in here, are smaller than these bigger bobbles down here. One thing about bobbles too, in this pattern, I don't know if they're this way in every pattern, they disappear. You have to poke them back out from the underside, and there might be a way to attach them underneath to make them stay out on the outside of the sweater. I don't know that. I don't plan to use bobbles in my pattern because they're cute and all, but the way these are made, they don't stay outside. You have to continually be pushing on them to make them stay on the outside of the sweater. Otherwise, it looks like a mistake. If you're just looking at the bobble pushed in, it looks like a mistake in your crochet, and I don't like that too much. I'd like to use some decorative stitches in my patterns on a top-down pattern, but it probably won't be a bobble. But I don't say don't buy this because I really love it. I think it's cute. It's very, very comfortable. It's a perfect fit for me. It's a medium. I made it right by the pattern, and the gauge was just perfect. Now, it was done with an L hook, which is a large hook. It's an 8mm hook, pink in the clover line. It's a pink hook. It looks like that. It is a plastic hook in the clover line. Not sponsored. I just love clover hooks, and this is a very light hook. And I wouldn't have picked an L for the worsted, but it does work great. It makes the sweater very light. It makes the sweater very light. If you use a smaller crochet hook, as I tried, I experimenting with it just while I was making the sweater, I thought I'm going to switch to a J hook and see if that matters. And it was so dense, I didn't like the sweater much at all. I just did a little piece of it that way. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll just trade off a different crochet hook, and then I'll look at it and make sure that's the way I want the sweater to look, or the top, or whatever it is. But this was made with a large hook. I was just really surprised when it said use an L hook. But after I began crocheting with it, I understand that. It's very, very light. The woolies is very comfortable. I thought it would be so scratchy, but I have on a tank. It's not scratchy on my arms. Oh, I just noticed that. Let me show you my sleeve, because I was experimenting a little bit with the sleeve, and I made it a tiny bit different from the other sleeve. So if you look at this sleeve, this is very smooth decrease on the underside. There's a little bump right there. That's probably my mistake. I don't know that for sure. I don't know if that's a mistake. I think one of them was perfect. This is it, I think. This one is way off. See, I tried experimenting right there, and I didn't decrease as much as I should have. But you know, I'm totally not worried about it. I don't think it's that noticeable. It is to me. When I hold my arms up just like that, I can see it. But you know, how many times are you going to do that? And it was my first time making this pattern, and I always recommend to make a pattern twice. I won't be doing that with this. Maybe next year I might pick it up and make it again. I really like the way it fits. And again, I'm going to stand up. I like the length of the sweater. This is made exactly by the pattern. I'm a petite size. I'm a short person. I'm only 5'4". And so sweaters are usually way too long. But this is made to be a little bit short. And I'll notice on Jess, it's not very long either. Let me get this up here where you can see it. See, it's above her mid-hip. There's her hip. It's above her mid-hip. And so she's probably a little taller than me. She looks like it in the picture. But I love the length of the sweater. I love it. It's perfect. I love the amount of ease in the sweater. It's probably maybe 4 inches of ease in this sweater, which to me is just about right for a winter sweater. It's also made of wool, and I like that because the Lion brand is easily available, and it's available in a lot of colors. And it's easy to be creative with Lion brand. So I'm hoping to come out with a pattern that you can make with a fat worsted. That's what I call this, a fat worsted, because it's a worsted weight and it's lofty. So it takes up a lot of room. And when you use an L hook with it, which is probably what I'll use for my first pattern, it's very spacious. The stitches are not too close together, and it's just easy to make. So again, I like this pattern very much. I like the kit. There was a little too much yarn in it, but I don't care. I've got a little extra. I can make a cowl or a small scarf, or I can give these away to a lucky subscriber. So anyway, I like that. So because I like that generally so much, I like the pattern. I like the way the yarn looks with that particular hook. I had ordered, before I even started this pattern, 6 balls of Lion brand wool ease in the colorway Forest Green Heather. And this is a Forest Green Heather. It's a beautiful green. See, it's kind of dark. Let me get that back. It's really a dark color green. It's a little dark for a first time through on a pattern, but I'm pursuing this pattern that I'm coming up with on my own. This is not the Sonnet sweater at all, but it is using an L hook and the Wool Ease yarn. So I did take that piece of the pattern and I'm going to use it to create my own pattern. And this is going to be very easy to make. This is going to be easy to read, easy to make, and it's not going to be complicated. There are not going to be any extra things to the pattern. Now this pattern, because it's an intermediate, they felt free to add a back extension, and that is not something that's easy to do if you're a new crocheter or just a beginning crocheter, maybe with a little bit of experience. The back extension could be complicated for you. I mean, you could be like you just don't understand it. I don't think it's that hard to do, but it's a piece that I might not incorporate into my sweater. I think I'm going to use short rows. And short rows, I've already described those in a couple of patterns, at least one pattern that I know of, where you start at the shoulder and you crochet around the back 2 or 3 or 4 rows, however many you want, and you graduate it into the neckline so that when you put your finish edging on it, it looks really, really nice. And what that does is it adds sweater, it adds rows to the back of the sweater, and it pulls it up just a little bit so that the sweater isn't always falling backwards. Now this has a back extension, so I haven't seen that it's falling backwards, so you could do it either way. Short rows at the top or a back extension at the bottom of the yoke. And for me, I'm going to do short rows. I think that's how I'm going to take care of it. Most sweaters really, if they're open neck like this, they really need to have some extra rows either at the top or the bottom of the yoke so that they don't roll back on you. That they try to find their equilibrium, I guess. I'm not really sure why it happens, but a sweater will roll back and you'll have to keep adjusting it. So if you use a back extension or a set of short rows, you can adjust that and make it right. And so this is how far I've gotten on my yoke. I love it. And it's really simple. It's not complicated at all like an intermediate pattern. This is going to be a beginner's pattern. This is the yoke. And I'm going to try this on for you. Let me do that. I think this is the right side. This is what it looks like. What I've done with this is I've made the neckline much smaller. It is not way out here, but it's still plenty of room to go over my head. See, it's pretty big. So when I add the short rows, that will stay in place right there. I worked on the yoke and it's very, very easy to make. So that is my focus. My other focus is to make it so that you can crochet this sweater in any size you want. It's all inclusive sizing. I'm not going to give you stitch counts. I think at the beginning I give you a stitch count, but from then on you just roll with it, and if you're a stitch or two off, it's not a big deal. Now, when you size a pattern, you have to say 50 stitches here, 30 stitches there. But if you're measuring a pattern, you don't have to do that. And I'm going to create my sweater using measurements, and that way you can make it as large or as small as you want, and it should work out. Now, we'll see how that works. But my focus is not to publish a pattern in sizes. I don't want to do that. I think you should be able to measure yourself and create a pattern that fits for you, and then I'll have places in the pattern where you can write in what you did, how many, not necessarily how many stitches you did, but how many increases you did, what the measurement was at a certain point, and then when you added the chains under the arm to make the connect the yoke to itself front to back, and then how many short rows you used. All that will be in the pattern. So I'm really excited about this. We'll be able to use this for summer sweaters, and I think it'll be awesome because a summer sweater, you just make the yoke, and then what I'll do is I will add to the yoke and make it a short sleeve sweater. I'm looking forward to doing that as well. I'm just really excited about creating patterns, and that's my focus on this channel. So I'm going to take this off. But I do like it so far. It's not hard to make, and hopefully you'll be gathering up some supplies, and I like to be able to get that out in the next month. That's my goal, and that's what I would like to do. So I don't know what that did to my hair. Well, whatever. So I wanted to show you that. I'm really excited about a top-down sweater. Now that I've made one and I understand the kind of complicated pattern, I understand where they're going with it, and I want to make mine again that is focused on your measurements, and then it will just fit you. I hope y'all enjoyed your bobble pattern that I sent out to the community. I sent it out last week, a bobble pattern and the dish towel and dishcloth pattern for gifts if you want to make them, or for yourself. I made myself one and I'm still using it. It's awesome. I really like it. I have some ideas about how to change it up a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed those patterns. I had a lot of people thank me for those, and thank you very much for being in the community. That's my Christmas gift to you. So I just wanted to thank you so much for your response to the patterns going out, and I hope you could enjoy them. I love the bobble pattern. I've made several more, and they're on the tree, and the tree doesn't come down until January 6th. So it stays up from December 24 to January 6th, and that is Christmastide, the 12 days of Christmas. So I'm going to take the tree down on the 6th, but until then I can enjoy the tree with all my handmade baubles hanging on it. Today I'm opening a KnitCrate box that I received a couple of days before Christmas, and this is on the Vintage Records theme. These are the colors that they're using right along here, the colors of Vintage Records, and these are like when you bought a 45, remember back in the day, if you're old enough to remember, the 45s had different colors of labels on them, the round labels, and so they have taken some colors from there and use them for the colors of the yarn this month, and that's a great idea. Why not? You know, it's a theme. So this is Audine Wool's Harmony by KnitCrate. This is the jazz color, 41% wool and 20% alpaca, 23% tinsel, and 10% baby camel. This is a worsted weight, and the color again is jazz. They had several other colors, but I do love this. It's very, very squishy, very soft. That would be sweater quantity if I could get it at a decent price. I would definitely go for that. I'm not loving the brown, but you know, I don't know why brown would look bad on me. I just, you know, I've always kind of shied away from browns, but this is kind of a heather color. This is a tonal. There are different tones of brown in there. I hope you can see that. They're just different tones of brown. Some of it's a little bit darker than others. Not much. There's not a whole lot of difference in the coloring here, but I do like it. It's a possibility for a sweater. They're 150 yards on the skein, and of course we're comparing that, but of course the luxury yarn is really sweet and very nice. That's comparing this with Woolies is 200 yards on the skein. So, you know, you have 50 yards less on this. You'd have to buy probably 6 of these to make a medium. That would be my guess. 6 of these. I have 2, and I have to buy 4 on a double down, which is their special pricing for members. Also in the box was some soak, which is a substance that you use to wash your wools in. See, you can barely read that. S-O-A-K, soak. And this is Pineapple Grove is the aroma that's in here, and I do like this. There were 2 of them, and I used one to wash my Spanish Dancer. I wore it to a breakfast party near Christmas, and I spilled something all down the front of it. I'm very careful usually with my sweaters, but I bit into a pastry, and it had white custard in it. That white custard hit the top of the sweater and just dribbled down, and then there was some more that came on another side. I don't know where that came from. I guess when I bit into it, it came out both sides of the pastry, and it landed right on my red sweater, my brand new red Spanish Dancer. So that day when I got home, this was waiting for me. And this KnitCrate box, the KnitCrate box was waiting for me, and it had this inside. So I thought, you know, I'm going to use that. I'm just going to wash this sweater. So I put it in a big pot, or it was a big bowl, in my sink. Filled up the bowl with cool water, and I used a whole packet of this soak. I poured it in there, and then I put the sweater down in there, and it bled for, I don't know, a long time. It was, you know, I was squeezing it, and the water was getting redder and redder and redder and redder. So I let it sit 15 minutes like it says on the package. And then I poured cold water into the bowl and squeezed it, squeezed it, squeezed it. It took me 15 minutes to get all of the wool coloring out of it, all that red color. But this sweater now is dry, and it's the same color as it was when I put it in there. So losing all that dye didn't really matter, I don't guess, but it was a little bit scary because I thought, well, it's going to be a pink sweater by the time I finish with it. But it wasn't. It turned out just great, and it's now dry, and I'll try that on and see if I did well with it. I did not block it. I just washed it, and a lot of people do that now. They just wash their sweaters, or they consider it washing, in the soak that I received in the KnitCrate box. But some people will, that I see on YouTube, they'll just do what I just did. They don't block it. They'll just lay it out. I rolled it in a towel and I left it for a few minutes, and then I unrolled it and I laid it on top of my washing machine, and I just let it sit there for maybe 3 days. I flipped it over one time and then finished it up on the breakfast table. I let it, air out a little bit, and it's fine now. It's perfectly dry. I haven't tried it on. I hope I didn't shrink it or anything, but I only used cool water, so it should have worked out. Anyway, I wanted to show you that KnitCrate that just came in. Really like it. I love all their yarns. I have ordered lots of sweater quantities of their yarns because they're just so beautiful and so luxurious. So the Spanish Dancer was one. I ordered that after receiving 2 of those hanks, and other than losing a lot of dye out of it, I think it's going to be okay, and it did crochet up very beautifully. So I just wanted to talk about that for 1 second, because the soak, and this is another, Eucalan is the other brand that I have used to block scarves and sweaters, and this is really nice too. The pineapple did not smell like pineapple. It didn't smell like anything. When the sweater completely dried, it still smelled like an animal, but not a bad animal. It didn't smell like a bad animal or a dirty animal. It just smelled like an animal because it was alpaca. That yarn was alpaca. So if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen a picture of the sweater in the bowl with all the dye. Oh, it was kind of scary, honestly, but it turned out okay. For those of you who do diamond painting, I'm not going to show you an update today. Probably my next video, I'll have an update. I am so excited. The Virgin of the Lilies is coming to life, and I'm looking over there at her. I'm doing the bottom of baby Jesus's feet, and her hand is right there to hold him up. And I noticed that the shading in her hand is so gorgeous. It's a huge diamond painting, so that allows the computer to drill down and do some really nice shading in body parts like faces and hands and feet. Those are much better if you get a larger diamond painting, and I have found that over the time I've been diamond painting that the larger the better. So usually I do really large paintings because I like to have lots of detail in my diamond painting. So this is going to be quite gorgeous. Here's a picture of it finished, and hopefully I will see that mine looks just like that. Anyway, I'll show you that probably next Monday, so be looking for that diamond painting update. Last week we talked about Crochet Surprise being on the giveaway. This is the card, the pattern card that comes in the box. It's a monthly subscription. I am sponsored, only that they send me a free box and I give it away to one of my subscribers. So this is the Crochet Surprise this month, which is the Aspen Loop bag. The Aspen Loop bag is right there. It looks like a very nice bag that you crochet, and the color of the yarn was the key word that I used last week, and this is it again. This is the taupe color of Cotton 24/7 by Lion Brand, another Lion Brand product I really like. Not sponsored by Lion Brand at all. I would love to be sponsored by Lion Brand, but I'm not. So this is a size 4 cotton yarn that they sent in the box. There are 4 skeins of this to make the loop bag, so it's going to be very beautiful, whoever makes it. I'm excited for you. Also in there is some loose leaf tea called Well-Being by Jasmine Pearl. Always a top quality product. Love Jasmine Pearl. I did ask you to use the word taupe in your comment, and you would be in the running for the Crochet Surprise this week. So let's turn the camera to the computer and find out who wins the crochet surprise this week. Here we are at the computer, and the URL for last Monday is there. The keyword is there. So let's find out how many people signed up for the crochet surprise this week, or this month actually. And it is 256. So thank you for participating. I appreciate it, and I hope if you really, really wanted to win that you win. Let's see who wins the crochet surprise for this month. It's Mary Thompson. Mary Thompson, you have won the crochet surprise. The Aspen loop bag and everything to make it right there in the box. So Mary Thompson, you are the winner. Congratulations. Well, Mary Thompson, congratulations. You've won the crochet surprise, and I will get that right in the mail. As soon as I receive your mailing address, just email it to me and I will send that right out to you. Now, for next week, I have 2 magazines to give away. I have a cross stitch magazine and the crochet magazine, which is Defining Crochet is the name right there. I've only noticed that in the last month or two that that's there. I'm sure it's been there forever. But Defining Crochet is the magazine, and it's quite lovely. It has a lot of wonderful patterns in it, and I want to show you a couple of those. Now, this one is a basket pattern. I'm kind of into baskets. I love baskets, and there are several patterns in here for baskets. That's one. I really like those. Those are called mega baskets. And it looks like they're 8 inches by 7 inches, 10 inches by 7, and 12 inches by 7. So I'm guessing you can just make it taller. That's what that means. But it looks like a really pretty pattern, and different colors too as well. So that would be really nice to make yourself one first, and then see if you really like it and make it for gifts if you want. Here's another basket. And this is called the Ring of Roses Coasters and Basket. And the coasters are granny squares, and the basket is a granny square on the bottom. You can see it in the picture just a little bit. It's right there. And then the sides come up from there. I guess you make a circle out of the granny square, and then you come up on the sides. That is a pretty one as well. And you can leave the flowers off or put the flowers on there. You don't have to put those on there. Those are added later. But very cute, very cute. And there are also some other really nice patterns. This is the Spring of 2022 pattern book for crochet. This is a picture of the gallery, which is all the patterns that are in here. There are a ton of patterns in here for all kinds of things, from baskets to scarves to sweaters. There's a granny sweater with granny squares along the bottom and along the sleeves. And then a very simple sweater pattern looks like. It should be pretty easy to make. And then there's several cape patterns and sweater patterns, all kinds of things in here. So this is a really nice magazine. I will give this away next week. And the key word here is waves. And that's taking that right from there. Waves, W-A-V-E-S. Just put the word waves in your comment, and you'll be in the running for this crochet magazine that I'm giving away next week. Cross Stitch magazine is going out next week as well. And this one I order. I don't cross stitch anymore. I do know how to do it. And I always love these magazines to look through, and then I give them away because I probably won't be using these. Now, one thing I wanted to point out to you, that this is a magazine that includes an article about stitching around the world, and it must be a new segment of the magazine that they're going to be doing for a few months maybe. The history of Assisi embroidery, and that is Assisi, Italy, and there's a map of it. Assisi is right there. It's right in the middle of Italy. Italy is the boot. Remember that from school. And the Assisi embroidery is a full square of embroidery, and it's done with a solid color background and then one color design. And that's what these are right here. I did remember it from reading an article a long time ago about this, but you buy a square of cross stitch material, and then you fill it in with, the background is a dark color and the design is a light color. That's kind of where I'm seeing this go. There's a jousting horse and rider there, some birds, and these are old Italian drawings that have been converted to cross stitch. And it's called Assisi embroidery, but it's really a cross stitch technique, and I like it. I think it's beautiful. And I also found this in here. I always go through the magazines and look at every page, but this is a gnome. I know a lot of y'all are into gnomes. Not everybody, but a lot of people are. This is a gnome with eyes. I've never seen a gnome with actual eyes on them. This is cute. This is their February issue, 2022. So it's going to have a lot of Valentine patterns in it and things that you make with or about Valentine's Day. And this is the gallery. There are pictures of winter, gnome pictures. There's some ornaments that you make every month, and they start this month. So I think there are 2 ornaments they show, and by the time you finish them, it'll be next Christmas. Here's one with hearts and cardinals on it. That's really, really pretty as well. So just wanted to show you the gallery of that. If you're interested in this for next Monday's giveaway, just use the word cross in your comment. C-R-O-S-S. That's right there. C-R-O-S-S. Use that in your comment if you're interested. If you're not interested in the cross stitch magazine, don't sign up for it, and allow somebody else to win who would really like to have it. So there you go. And now I'll leave that right there. I hope you have a wonderful week. I have some house gifts coming, so I have to get in gear and start getting ready for them. So I'm excited, and I will talk to y'all next Monday, and be looking for my video to come out. Please like this video before you leave, before you click away. Please like this video. That helps me quite a bit. And subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Join the community if you haven't joined the community. Down in the description box, you'll see a link, and you'll get a free pattern. It's free. There's never a charge to be in the community. So I hope you will sign up for that, and the next free pattern that comes out, you will be receiving that, and notices of new patterns that are coming out. And the notices are sent out on your email address. They will include an offer code for you to use on other patterns in my shop as well. So I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Monday, and we'll find out then what's on the hook.